Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Footy Talk podcast. My name is Anthony Maroon, two of Triple M's favourites and vital to us at the moment because it's Origin time. Wade Graham, how are you, me old mate?
Great, man. Another week. Looking
Yep.
forward to Origin. All the build-up starts again. The wait and debate's over about who's going to be in the team. The teams are in. We were going to talk about it, but now the build-up to Origin 2 begins, and it's a pretty simple equation for us New South Welshmen. We need a win to keep this series alive.
I asked you, did you watch the Stanley Cup? Because my Christine loves it, and the Oilers flogged Florida,
Dominated.
didn't they?
But to be honest, I've been to a lot of hockey games, and if they're the games you want to go to, one where there's lots of goals scored, because I've been to some where it's 1-0. And it's great. It's good fun. Like you still see the puck going up and down. It's still fast and brutal, but yeah, no one likes to see a 1-0 score.
No.
So when you what was it, 8-1? I think it was a record. I think it was a record in the semi or in the Stanley Cup. Sorry. So they're dominating.
Josh, you know I love you, mate, but all day Friday and Friday night I was with you, mate. Now, not only that, but, you know, in between the Friday gig and the Friday night gig, you called me and I was on the M4 and you didn't hang up till I got to the Anzac Bridge. That's a lot of Josh. That's a lot of Josh Reynolds, isn't it?
I was just checking up on you, mate.
That's the all-you-can-eat Josh Reynolds buffet.
Yeah, whatever you want.
Yeah, that's a lot.
We had a good day at Emu Plains, didn't we, mate?
We had a great day, and then we called a great game, and here we are.
Was I meant to go to that Emu Plains? I was.
And you punted me because you wanted to play in the golf day. How was the golf day?
The golf day was outstanding. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, like, this is my first year of retirement, so I'm just making sure I don't knock back any events that I'd
Good
love
on
to
you.
play.
I think that's
the
great.
events that I sacrificed or couldn't go to when I was playing in my rugby league career. And the Mick Fanning one was an event that I was eyeing off for the last couple of years. He does a wonderful job. It started off as a way to make money for all the people who were affected in the Northern Rivers by the floods, all those devastating floods, probably 4 years ago now. And he's committed to do the day every year until he gets every dollar back to the people who had any losses there with the insurance that didn't really, the claims that didn't work because they were on that floodplain. So, listen, I've been to a lot of events throughout my career, but this was up there as what was on offer, what was the money being raised, and just the event in general. There was like an activation on every hole. It was a great fun day. And then by the end in the presentation, it was like an old Oprah show where you get a prize and I get a prize and Grubby gets a prize.
Yeah.
Everyone got a prize.
I think
so
I
it
got a
was
prize.
good.
I wasn't even there.
Yeah.
That's
well,
fun, though.
I think Mick Fanning is like Triple M's cousin, mate. So
Yeah,
however we
nice.
can help him, we'll help him, whatever we can do. But boys, right now, we've got to talk about these two Origin sides, the ins, the outs, the importance of Game 2, which is, of course, in Melbourne, New South Wales, to state the obvious, can't afford to lose. The first thing that pops out at me, I don't know about you blokes, because you're both from New South Wales, as am I, but the first thing that pops out to me, Cobbo's been dropped.
Yeah, it's a strange one, that one, because Billy sort of took that big risk in game 1 on him. Well, it didn't turn out to be a risk,
No.
but the question mark heading into that game was how is Cobbo going to be used? It was certainly a massive talking point, and he backed young Cobbo, and the move ended up being the right one. Walsh taken out of the game in 7 minutes with the concussion, and Cobbo comes on and didn't just play a role, played a starring role. He was damaging at that left centre. So I doubt this is the last we've heard of this selection issue, and I can only assume that it's got to do with more than just the performance. I know he didn't play his best game the other night for the Broncos, but it just feels like there's something going on in the background where Billy might be worried about where his head's at and any baggage that he might have, because there's an opportunity to win the series down in Melbourne, and selfishly as a coach and as a player in that Queensland team, you don't need any distractions coming in from individuals, right? You want guys who are coming in with their head in the right place, completely focused on the outcome and on that victory that Queensland are chasing, because I know they have 2 bites at the cherry pretty much after winning game 1 and the decider in Suncorp if New South Wales keep the series alive. But the way Billy coaches, the way that Queensland mindset will be, they want to put this game to bed in Melbourne.
There's got to be something going on. What's changed from your selection in game 1 to game 2? Why not have it back on the bench now?
Especially when you're so effective, right?
Yes.
It's not as if he wasn't
That's
effective.
what I mean.
Yeah.
Like it's a master stroke what Billy done, Everyone, we were all questioning it. I remember in this thing, we're like, what's Cobbo going to do?
Yeah.
Mind you, Billy, he didn't know, but it obviously worked for him. The only thing I can think of, obviously, boys, Kurt Capewell is number 17, and he has actually played in the centres in the Origin Arena before. So he's done a job there before, but very, very interesting with the whole Cobbo thing. Like you said, Wade, there's got to be something going on because he had a blinder in Origin.
Well,
so what is it?
This is the thing, but like if we sat in here with a bunch of Queensland, what the old pick and stick, like we back our players.
Yes.
Cobbo, he did the job for him in
Yeah.
game 1, was outstanding, and now all of a sudden he's out, and it like I get it. There's probably something that's going on in the background, and Billy's made a decision. I just said my thoughts on it, but where's the old pick and stick? Like
Gone.
We'll look after our guys. I can't wait to get into Brent Reid actually, and a couple of those other Queenslanders about this. Dobbo maybe might receive a text because they've just put a guy who, in unfamiliar circumstances, sitting on the bench, came on, did the job for him, helped secure a victory, and now they've just punted him out of the squad.
Has Hopgood been dropped or is he injured?
I think he's injured.
Yeah,
He didn't
Hopgood's
play-
injured.
Okay,
I think he didn't play on the weekend for Para.
Yeah.
So I can understand sort of that one. And Felice Kafusi, although he was 18th man, he played plenty of footy in that Origin 1 because of the activation of the 18th man. So I can understand that one. But yeah, the Cobbo one's interesting, and it's definitely not going to be the last we hear of it.
The great Dane Gagai in as 18th man. You know, you pick up the 30K when you're the 18th man. You've just got to. They might pick me as 18th man. Nothing's going to happen. You just.
I don't think you get it.
No, you get it.
Apparently-
You get it now. You get the 30.
Wow.
And yeah.
Gags.
You know who told us that? Triple M's head producer Charlie White.
Yeah.
And if there's a quid on, he knows.
Charlie's
he knows
there.
about
Well,
it.
it's like a win-win situation for someone like Queensland and Dane that came in because one, he's very Newcastle got the bye, so he probably wasn't doing much this weekend anyway. He might have had to get the permission from his missus and kids. That would have been the biggest thing. But they get to bring someone in who's going to be great for the team because of his experience. He's actually old enough, if it's like in his position, he played with Billy and Cam and JT, so he's going to be able to hang out with the staff just as much as the players. And then come game day, if for any reason he does get activated, he's just got that experience. He's a competitor. He's not going to be. He's not going to be. You're not going to be worried about where you put him on in Origin. He's played 500 of them, so
and he plays his best footy in Origin.
Yeah.
Like he honestly can not be playing any good footy in club footy. Plays Origin. He's unbelievable. Every single time he puts on that Queensland jersey.
And boys, you know how things work out for Billy Slater. Gagai will probably have to play and score a 100-metre try and win him the game.
Let's not say that, but
No, let's not. Okay, so look, just in particular the New South Wales team. Now, obviously, Nico Hynes been dropped. There's a couple of ways we can look at this. Firstly, like he was in the team with respect because Mitch Moses was injured. Nico has had a couple of games, in Origin and away from Origin. But since then, he hasn't been picked. Myself, personally, I like to see him get... I don't like to see, as a supporter, a bloke get punted after one game. I wonder how he is coping with it away from football. Have you spoke to him?
I've spoke to him. I've got a relationship with him at Cronulla and certainly played a lot of footy with him. I care about him and want to see him do well. So I spoke to him just to check up on how he's going. He's doing really well. I think he's off social medias for starters. So I think he made that decision quite a while ago. And last when I spoke to him, he was heading away for the weekend with his missus down the coast. So I think there's no doubt he can hear the noise. He goes, I haven't been hearing too much or reading too much, but I sense it because people in the street are talking to him about it, right? It's that big of a event that everyone has a comment or has an opinion.
You deserve another go, Nico. Yeah.
So he knows it's coming, but it's not a nice situation to be in. But unfortunately, this is just the nature of the beast. You get an opportunity, and despite no matter what the circumstances are, New South Wales lost that game, so there's going to be change. And in his position, like you said, there was strong mail that was between him and Moses. And if Moses had played one game before the team was picked, it might have been Moses anyway. So I don't think it's as shocking as, I'm more shocked at the Cobbo one, to be honest. I would have thought he was a shoo-in for Queensland after his game one performance. But, Nico's in this position and unfortunately the noise is going to continue around him. And all he can do as a player, like I've been in this situation, Grubby's probably been in it at times as well. All you can do is focus on your club, just narrow your focus and take it one game at a time to have success there, because the noise isn't going to go away. Like, it hangs around, unfortunately, for someone like Nico, who's got a very high profile. He's won the Dally M. Sort of the fate of Cronulla always seems to rest on his hands. So when Cronulla wins, Nico's going to get the praise. And if New South Wales won, he probably would have got the praise. But if Cronulla don't win and New South Wales don't win, the criticism comes for you. So it sucks as a player, but it's a learning curve. And, in the long run, he'll be a better player and, more experience and more hard edge from going through stuff like this.
Yeah. Okay, good point. Cam McInnes, though, I mean, he's another one. I don't think I've ever seen a game where he didn't play 150%.
In the Origin game, I thought he was good.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think he didn't deserve to get dropped. And
I think the only thing too, and I love Cam as well, tenacious player, like one of my most favourite teammates, one of those guys who you just love playing with, because as you said, he's going to give 100%. But if you look at, Cam Murray being fully fit before game one, like Cam Murray's probably there ahead of Cam anyway. So it's unfortunate. Do you think if there's New South Wales win and there's a fully fit Cam Murray, do you think he's out of that team, even if New South Wales win? I don't think so. I think Cam's in that team.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Cam Murray.
I'm picking him at 13 every day of the week. Definitely on the back row.
Yeah.
We've played him in the back row before in Origin. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
But when he's in the middle, he's that linchpin ball player, but at the same time, he tightens South. Look at South on the weekend. He tightened them up. He does what we probably needed. And just quickly on the Nico Hynes thing, I actually feel sorry for him, because what happens is after that first game, even Friday night, Cronulla versus Dolphins, people say, he didn't have the greatest game, but he was solid. But you're expecting him to be great just because, he's got to have a blinder.
Yeah.
But he was solid.
Yeah.
He was, and that's the thing. Like, people don't realise it's everywhere. He like you said, he goes down the coffee shop. People are like, what do you reckon? It's everywhere. Exact same thing happened to me. 2014 series, we won it. I didn't get picked in the 15 series. And you sort of, you think, I wasn't playing great footy, but I wasn't playing crap footy.
Yeah.
It's just that you're not. If you're not at that level, and it is unfortunately, like, and Mitch didn't play great either. But it's just that it's heightened. Everything you do is heightened. Nico might have done one bad thing in that Friday night game. He missed that goal, right, to tie it.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, he's not confident. He might have missed that goal if it was an Origin period.
It's not his fault they were down 22-0.
That's what happens.
That's the point. Like, the point I made on Saturday, I think it was the Sharkies scored 28 points. Like, if your halfback's out there and he's directing the team around the 28 points, that's enough. Like, Nico's not the issue at the Sharks at the moment. Like, his confidence or wherever it's at, supposedly, is not the issue. The issue at the Sharks at the moment is we're letting in too many tries. Like, we speak about, I don't know how many times I speak about it on the podcast and on the Saturday and Thursday shows. Like, defense is everything in this competition, and teams that have success, they defend well. And at the moment, the Sharkies we're not defending like we should. And you can scrape through the season, like, with those inconsistencies in your defence, and your attack you can rely on eventually, because they can score points. Like 28 points might put most opposition away. But when it gets down the back end of the year, when you need to win, you need your defence to hold up. Because 20 points is enough to win. Anything above 16 points is enough to win. Like, the top teams want to be below 14 points, below 12 points a game. So if you're getting more than 20 points a game, your halfback's doing a pretty good job.
Let's get sidetracked for a minute here, because
this is what we do the best.
This is not the first time we've seen the Sharks give away an early lead.
Yeah.
And now a couple of times they've clawed their way back. The obvious one is Canberra. There's also the Warriors one as well.
Yeah.
But so they let the Dolphins out to 22-0, and they almost come back. But forget they almost come back. Why are these teams getting out of these leads?
For me, normally, when I look at that, and I remember playing, if you're missing starts or you're not putting games away, it's whenever, like, from my experience, it's a lack of focus. It's a lack of focus and concentration for the entire 80 minutes. Let's just
What was
Nice.
that?
Whatever that was.
That's, I don't know.
That
That
was
come
your-
So it sounded
I
like.
think that was your mother. Yeah,
Robbie.
because I've got a missed
Just
call
like
from
your
her too.
mum.
Oh, wow.
It's so it's normally for me, it's a lack of focus. It's hard to say because I'm not out in the field like I used to be, but it's maintaining that focus, sticking to the plan for 80 minutes because it's hard to do, and particularly in the modern game with the momentum swings. Sharkies are a good example of a team who can ride that momentum, and if they have the ball, they can find that 28 points unanswered. But the good teams, when the momentum goes against them, they're good enough just to hang in the fight and not leak points.
I think, though, Wado, that somebody like 99.999% of people who just love footy but never played at that level can't fathom how you would be out there and not be 100% focused on the job.
Yeah. No, sorry.
No,
you
no.
go.
There's like you are focused on the job, but there's games within games. Like there's cycles in games. There's flows. There's feel. That's why experienced players, experienced halves are so good because they can sense where the game's at. How it's like they have an awareness of what their team needs actually right now. Because you can have your game plan and you can want to go out there and execute it, right? And sometimes you've got to wait 10 minutes to get into a position where you can start because other teams, you missed a jump or the referee's giving away a penalty or a 6 again. So you're out of sorts, right? And when you're out of sorts and you're trying to search for your rhythm, it's about managing that situation. And the great halves and the great teams can defend back to back. They have resilience in their trial. And Melbourne's a perfect example. Right? They can be playing nowhere near their best, but they don't leak points. So when the cycle actually turns and they get in to control the momentum and they get into their gears, when they find their tries, because they've held teams out defensively, their confidence goes through the roof. And when they find points, all of a sudden the pressure is double on the opposition. And then not only do you have the momentum pressure, then you have the scoreboard pressure. The opposition has the pressure. It's like, well, we didn't take advantage of our momentum. So then you're mentally beaten half the time as well. So the Sharks are in this place at the moment where when they're not executing and controlling the game, they're leaking points. And when you're leaking points, it's hard to win in the big games. Now, the Sharkies are good enough that when it actually frees them up a bit and they start throwing the ball around and they're dangerous attacking so they can score their way back into a team. But it won't be any good at the back end of the year because you need to stop tries, not save tries.
The teams go after weaknesses too, Maroon. Like you say, people lose concentration. So at last week, I reckon the Dolphins 100% were going to go after Nico because they know off-field is thinking about Origin. There was plenty going on, and they did. There was a time there where Nikorima come from the other side, played a short side play. It wasn't Nico's fault, but around Nico. Yeah. And the good halves see that. They go for weaknesses in defence. And I actually think, when I look at the Sharks and I'm like, that game, I'm like, what's happening here? You look at their middle, even their middle defence, they're strong. They got everything, but 22 points are on the board.
Yeah.
I honestly, the Sharks is the team I always look at, and I go, how does this happen? Like, what is it? What is it in their defensive season? Who is it that is just not there in that time? Because they're a great team, great attacking team. We don't know that, but defensively, sometimes you just think they're broken down a lot, aren't they?
But then other games they come out and like the week before against the Bronx. They were brilliant defensively.
Yeah.
They were up and tight in against.
Yeah,
they handled Stags well. They handled Cobbo well. They handled that Broncos, the big middles, Payne Haas, Carrigan. They handled them well. So it's just that week to week application of their system and their process, and it's certainly frustrating if you're a Sharkies fan. That's for sure.
Also, boys, just back on the Origin.
Yes, we'll go back.
Let's
to
get back to
Origin.
Origin.
Yeah.
Where's Appy? What's he done? No, honestly, Connor Watson's in and good on him.
Yeah.
He's had a really good season. But Connor Watson and Appy, similar. Is Connor Watson is obviously going to go on, you'd think, at hooker, have a bit of a spurt in there. What's Appy? Appy done?
I would have thought Appy would be one of the first players picked.
He was outstanding on the weekend.
Outstanding.
He was outstanding.
Is there...
It's got to be something in his style of play that Madge doesn't like, or that Madge doesn't think suits his game plan. Maybe... I could only assume that, in game one, right, he had Nico and Luai. I could only assume that he wanted just a power game, right? He didn't want no creativity around the hooking role because he just wanted to go power, power, power and then move the ball fast over the ad line. So you're wasting sort of Appy's creativity there because of his service. And Robson's just going to be a really hard worker, hard defender, and he's just going to distribute, really.
Yeah, but like, it doesn't. No, but
I'm just trying to create.
but
I'm
I'm
just trying to
saying,
create
like-
an argument for maybe why. Like I would have had him picked for sure.
Mm.
I think he's the best hooker in our competition.
Yeah.
You know, Harry Grant's up there as well. But in terms of creativity and craft at the number 9,
the best.
Appy's unbelievable.
His deception is
Yeah.
the best. That's the thing, though. Appy he never overplays. He's
Yeah.
never jumping out of hooker, coming to a dead end, going, "Oh, you have it." No matter what style or what game plan you want, his deception around the ruck, the way he gets his forwards in behind and stays square and engages with his eyes,
Yeah,
it's the best I've ever seen,
I
honestly.
agree with you there.
So I just don't understand.
Not forgetting that Appy and Madge won a premiership together
Yeah,
many,
at
many years
South,
ago.
yeah.
This one, obviously, Teddy dropped. Dylan Edwards comes back in. That's another one of these ones where Dylan was picked anyway, but he was injured. I think Dylan's going to go bunter, Grubby. I think he's going to have a big game.
Can you translate?
Explain
Bunta?
Bunta.
Bunter's like Bunter's one level up from Burko. He's going to go off.
Wow,
He's gonna
Burko's
go-
pretty big. I've
he
never
is
heard
Bunta.
Bunta.
He's gonna have a huge game. I think last time Paul Dillon gets into the arena and goes bang quad. But in saying that, his style, it just suits Origin. It's exactly what we need. He'll run for 200, 250, hopefully 300. Sniff around the ruck, just be everywhere. He epitomises, I think, what it takes to be an Origin player in clubland. And will he take the next step up? I definitely think so. I just think every single time he plays, watching him yesterday against, the
Newcastle,
Knights, he's
yeah.
just everywhere. And I just love him because there's no shit about him. There's no, I don't know, that Penrith side, they got a bit of swagger about him. They're always doing the big stuff. He scores a try, he gets back there, and I love him as a player, as a person. I think he's gonna have a massive game, and he'll be man of the match.
Wow.
On that night, just because of his effort and intent. And the one thing I do love about him is his defensive plays. He tries to save tries as much as he tries to score them. And for me, being in a side with a fullback like that, it can give you, if you save a try. Wait, I don't know about you, but like it's massive.
Yeah.
Like you're like, oh, thank you so much for that, because it's just like, and that's Dylan.
Yeah,
I
he's
think he's
great.
going to have a massive performance on next
It
Wednesday
would have
night.
been, so if New South Wales had won game 1, it would have been the biggest probably hard luck story at all, because he would have kept Teddy for game 2, and Dylan Edwards probably, who knows, he might have missed out on playing Origin ever, because if you win game 1 and then you win game 2, or even if you lose game 2, you sort of back that team. They got the job done in round 1. They've been there for the series. They're getting so you know what I mean. So if New South Wales had won and Teddy had stayed there, it could have been one of the hard luck stories, forever in someone playing Origin. But they didn't win. So then Edwards, I think, rightfully gets his shot, and it was disappointing with his injury, and he wasn't able to play that game 1. But he gets his shot. He's well deserved, and I have no doubt he'll play well. He's almost been the best player on the field for the last 3 grand finals. So you take away a couple of big individual performances. Obviously, Nath Cleary, Ezra Mann last year, Nath the year before. There was a couple other. Penrith just dominated. So he's in and around there all the time.
Yep.
So he's been on the big stage. He knows what it takes. And we're probably all New South Wales felt a bit sorry for him, how his circumstance went in game 1. So we're all hoping for the best for him in game 2. But I have no doubt he's going to be brilliant.
One thing I'm just interested in, boys, in the style the spine's going to play, because at Penrith, Dill was never out the back of the sweeps. He's always just holding that
wide
short
four,
side, the wide four, and he takes it when he feels, or he pops up on the inside. So I'm interested to see if it's Mitch or Luo who's going to be at the back, because Luo at the moment, he's been that 7, and oh wow, like he's been awesome. I actually thought, I'll be honest with you boys, I didn't think he could be a 7, but the Tigers have seen that he can be, and I think he's going to be amazing. I really do. But Mitch's, they're going to link up a lot. And maybe they're just going to change it up. One will be at the lead, playing at the back, and one will,
I think Mitch will play on ball, just having a quick think about it now, because even Luai yesterday, that try he scored, he was out the back of shape. The half went deep, played at the back of him. He showed DeSoro
awesome.
coming under and used his speed. I think Mitch can play both sides of the ball. So Dill can probably play that wide 4 on the right hand side. Luai could hold the wide 4 on the left, and Mitch could just swing and play the at the ball and distribute out the back. So that's how I'd see it playing. Also, probably expect Mitch to be able to back of a lot of those Cam Murray shapes, and Cam goes deep into the line. He has that inside-outside support of his middles, and Mitch to be swinging both sides, and probably Luai on the left. So, again, it depends about the ruck speed and the field position. But if New South Wales can get into good field position, and listen, they're going to play the same game plan. They still got the same outside backs, and they add Latrell, who's going to be powerful out of the backfield as well. They're still going to play that power game, try and create momentum, and have that those flat and fast shapes.
Just hang on to you
right.
keep your powder dry with Latrell, guys, because we'll take a break. And when we come back, we will talk about the man that doesn't want to be a scapegoat in Origin 2, Latrell Mitchell. Welcome back. This is Footy Talk with Wade, William Graham, and Joshua, Gary, Reynolds, and Maroon. Of course, these two Origin legends. And Woodsy's not here today, but just want to say, I'll be very quick here because I know this is not an English class, but I noticed that one of my favourite footballers, the great winger for the Doggies, the Fox, Woodsy and Latrell all use the term bra. I'll use it in a sentence. You know what I mean, bra? Bra's not actually a word, and geez, it grinds my gears when I hear someone say it. And I recently heard an interview of Latrell saying
the meaning of bra. It is a word.
Bra is a brassiere. Bra in relation to if I want to call him brother,
I actually use the word brother quite a bit.
yeah, brother's fine.
Yeah.
Bra's not a word.
It
You know,
is.
anyway, it's a word.
It's a carbon-based cover that fits over the front bumper of a car. So
Oh,
maybe that's
right.
what
There's a
they're saying.
car bra, or there's a bra that a woman, or there's the man's ear on Seinfeld. But you
I won't,
can't.
I won't read out the number one
Is
version
that,
of what a bra
There's
is.
a man's here. What's his name? That's the old man, isn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah, that's Frank. Because Frank and Sid Farkas and Kramer invent the man's ear, or the bro, if you like. Anyway, let's put that aside. Latrell Mitchell is back in the Origin team, and what's the first thing he says? Quote, I'm always the scapegoat. I've always been the scapegoat. My God, this guy. Oh, please, can you guys talk about Latrell being picked in the Origin side?
You go first, because this is your...
I mean,
feel this is-
honestly, what now? You're in the side. Now you don't want to be the scapegoat. Oh, look.
Listen.
If you've got nothing nice to say nothing nice at all. Let's talk footy.
Like, if anyone's been at the scapegoat at the moment, it's probably Nico a little bit. But
Oh,
listen,
thank you.
I think I think he's probably in a lot better shape to play now. Like, he's been playing well at South Sydney. Early in the year, there was a lot of criticism, certainly from external, but I was highly critical of the way they were playing too, just because of the team that they have, the roster that they have, and Latrell is a part of that. He's one of their best players, and they were sitting at the bottom of the table. Now, the last 3 weeks, they've turned that around. That they've played pretty well. Latrell's played well too, and New South Wales need a bit of a circuit breaker, right? And he is that circuit breaker. The biggest thing for me is and I've seen that interview before, and it's certainly. I think there is a little bit of doubt in his mind about where his confidence at and what he can deliver. But the biggest thing I could probably advise him is just be a part of the team. Just buy in 100% to what the team wants, and then you don't need to worry about how you feel or what's going to happen after. Just buy into that team, because the only really opinion that matters is the team. And the coaches, that's the only opinion that matters. And if you go out there and you execute your role and you win, well, don't worry about what could happen negatively. Just worry about going out there and winning and playing your footy, getting the job done, and then it's all happy days. But listen, I think he was the right choice. Swali being suspended needed a change. Latrell's obviously done that job before, and he's going to bring something a little bit different that we don't really have. He's an aggressive player. And he'll have the ability to single-handedly get after a few boys and make that a personal battle. But we need to see his best stuff. That's the only concern for me, is if he doesn't produce his best. If he's got a little bit of self-doubt, well, it's like a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy now, because he's put it out there in the world. If he doesn't get it done, it sort of seems like...
Well, why is he done an interview?
No,
honestly, I want him. I want him there. I called for him there. You were like, no way.
I don't feel
him.
like he deserves it.
No, he doesn't. He
But that's
doesn't.
from a
Let's
South-
just
I
face
get
it.
it from a
He
South
doesn't deserve
Sydney
it.
point
Okay,
of view.
but I don't care about South, okay?
All right,
care
but
about
I
the
don't care
Blues.
about you.
No,
all right?
Yeah.
How about that?
but he's
don't
gotta-
ca-
he's
I
gotta
don't
be
care
there.
about you.
But why, like,
dickhead.
Latrell, bro, like, he's in. Like, why is he doing that interview? Why are you even thinking about losing? Get rid of that. Like, you shouldn't be thinking about losing and the scapegoat, man. You should be going into camp now just thinking about your job. Thinking, you know what I want him to do? I think he goes up against the Hammer. Left centre, Hammer's the right centre for them. Bully him. Because the Hammer tore us apart in game 1. He's confident now.
What about the Hammer on Thursday night?
Oh, yeah.
No, honestly, though.
That was
like,
a great try.
That's
That
what
was
he's
a
got to
great
do.
try.
But in Origin, he has to. I just want him to be the person he is, to go after him. And literally, like, I seen that clip. We just watched it. Throw the ball. Oh, I love that. Like, I know people, like, this is what I want Latrell to do, to go after him. But, mate, you got to be. I've never seen him like that. I've never seen him that, like,
Well, the thing
question
is, but-
himself.
no,
I've
the
actually
thing is
never
too,
seen him
mate,
in
like-
that. Like, it's, and that's the one thing. I hope it doesn't come into the game where he's thinking, oh, am I going to be in this arena? Mate, you're there. The thing is, the crazy thing is, we spoke about like picking and sticking. He hasn't even been playing great. He has been playing good for South's last couple of weeks, but he hasn't been all year. But they've still picked you. They've
Last
still,
couple of weeks.
but they've still picked you.
Yeah,
So be
yeah.
confident that people know
What
you're
you
the
can
X
do,
factor.
Yeah, what you can do.
They know.
I think if he just goes in there with a simple mindset, focus on, he's going to have to carry out of the backfield. That's obviously a part of Madge's plan with that big outside backs. He's got to get through his work in the backfield and be solid defensively, because he hasn't defended in centres for a while. And no doubt Billy's going to ask him a couple of questions whether it's up and in defence or can he handle Reece Walsh's speed out the back with that decision making. But if he can take care of his job defensively and just worry about his work out of the backfield, when the opportunity comes for him to take it, take his chance, he's going to take it. Like, he's got a skill set that not many people have ever had in this game. So as long as he focuses on those basic parts of his games, he's going to be fine. And the other thing would be, like, it's funny that he chose to do that interview like just recently when he's been on the media band. He should be doing that all the time. Like, it makes him actually a lot more personable, I reckon. Like, you can understand and you can relate to how he's seeing and how he's feeling. Instead of brushing it all and thinking the world's against him, he should just face the media, talk to the media, so people can actually hear his voice and understand him, instead of he's worried about the story that the media has against him. Might happen against him. Well, just get out there and tell your own story. Like, he can do that.
Hadn't he said, though, that he wasn't available for Origin
No,
about
I don't think he ever said
8
that.
weeks ago?
I don't think he said that. There's obviously some stuff in his past, maybe with past selections
That's
and
what it is.
in and out of there. So there's a bit of doubt in him. But hey, listen, if there's any time to change the narrative, here it is. It's an opportunity where we've got to go down to New South Wales. To Melbourne. We're down 1-0. There's been a lot of changes. Here's an opportunity for one of the most talented players in our game to stand up and make a statement on the biggest stage.
And that's the thing, Wado. He should, like, that article interview, he should be thinking about being the guy that saved New South Wales. That's going to be, put that in your mind.
Yeah,
like, you know what I
100%,
mean?
yeah.
Like, put that there. Like, we talk about all this, speaking affirmations and all this stuff. Put that in your mind, and you can do that. He actually can. But the one thing that you just mentioned, Wado, that I hope he gets into his game, because I feel sometimes when he's trying to get back into form, he won't have the tough carries. He's always passing it to his wingers or his centers. If he catches a bomb, I just want him to get off the back fence coming out, because it's actually a great point you raised. Like, that's what I feel this game's going to be about. The back fives, like Toto and that coming off the back fence, and I just hope Latrell can base his game around that and help those back five out.
Just like the two worries, right, and how it's up to him how he executes it, how he feels. Well, that's going to depend on the possession and tackles he makes, but he's not going to have to run as far as he normally does, because he's going to have to cover the meters that fullbacks have to cover. So he'll be a little bit fresher in the legs to be able to take those plays. But he hasn't been making tackles either at fullback. You don't make tackles, so you don't have that defensive pressure and defensive read. So it's really simple focuses for him. Just get his defense on, make his decision making under pressure. Get a good feel of it this week. He's played plenty of footy there, so he'll know how to do it. But he's just got to get those decision rights, get into his work out of the backfield, and he'll be sweet. Like, he's going to take those opportunities. If there's half chances, he'll take the half chances. That's the type of player he is. But I think it's a simple equation for him. And I actually, despite that I didn't agree with some of the things that he was saying and how he portrayed it, I would rather him come out and create his own narrative instead of the so-called perception that the media, because if you don't come and talk about it yourself, it comes out of your own mouth. Well, the media will talk about what other media outlets say. That they'll create their own stories. But I think that's a step forward for him, and hopefully after a big game in game 2, It's on the up and up for Latrell and South Maroon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see about that. The feel-good story, the rugby league feel-good story of the year here, boys. I'm sure Connor Watson. He must have missed 99% of last year if he played last year at all. Connor Watson is going to start on the bench. Connor Watson's a great bloke. Another one that gives 150%. And it's a great story for any young player who has had an injury and had to back themselves. Connor Watson getting a start in Origin, I applaud that.
Yeah, and that's just like great work, Connor. Great work, Angus, as well, because they were both in reserve grade. And it's honestly, all that is, like we speak about the young kids, is belief.
Yeah.
There is
persistence.
And there's going to be, it's a roller coaster. That's the thing. Like any young kid about to get into first grade, strap in, because this is the thing. You could be playing reserve grade, great story, but then you could be playing in a game to get your state back into the Origin series. And Connor Watson is probably, he epitomises that. As you said, Maroon, he's had some really bad injuries. He's sort of always been that, I suppose. Do you know what I like about Connor Watson? He's that 14 role in every club he's been at. He never really comes out and sort of says, like, I want to be a 6, I want to be a 7. I think he embraces that role, and look where it's got him. You don't have to always be the man. You don't have to always be 13, 6, 7. And it's in us. You want that. Yeah. You really do. Any player wants to start, or come off the bench. You don't really want to come off the bench, but Connor Watson back into this Origin arena, I actually think, we speak about Appy and whatnot, but the way Connor Watson's playing for the Roosters, he could be a little X factor that comes on and just ruffles some feathers in the middle, because he's quick.
And
he's
strong.
Really quick and
He's
strong.
deceptively strong too for a smaller man. So and he's versatile. You can play in centres. He actually was playing in the middle for a bit for the Roosters, in the halves, in a 9. So he's probably the original perfect 14, right? He just covers so many positions and he can do a job in anywhere. And I just think it's a good lesson for anyone, as you say, he's debuting in the Origin arena, just for sheer will and persistence. Like, he hasn't probably ever nailed down a starting job in a first grade team regularly. He's always been that 14 or a bit of cover when there's injuries, but he just kept at it, fought for injuries, like big serious injuries many times throughout his career. And here he is. How old would he be? 27, 28? And he gets his shot.
Yeah.
So
I'll have a look.
Congratulations to him. And he's been outstanding for the Roosters. I think did he sign a 1-year deal or a 2-year deal?
He's the guy that he takes care of his own. I think he manages himself. Was that Connor Watson? Because he went to the Knights, didn't he? And he came back.
Yeah. Well, that's a great move back for him. A familiar place. I think he had to look elsewhere with nothing being offered at the Knights, and then now he's probably going to get rewarded with a longer deal at the Roosters too. So good on him. We wish him all the best. And he's going to be solid wherever he comes onto the field.
28 years old, by the way. He just turned 28. So good on you, mate. I hope it all works out. If anybody deserves it, you do. So we've mentioned this before, boys, that in Melbourne, you guys have done this. So I'm asking you. You're playing Origin, you're playing for New South Wales, you're playing even in your club team. But when you're playing in Melbourne, you're from New South Wales. You're like the absolute scum of the earth. Melbourne hate you just like Brisbane and Queensland hate you, grubby.
Yeah, it is an interesting one. Like, I don't understand it, but I think it's just what it was, that 8 year. All I can say is that 8 years of dominance that Queensland had was a lot of Melbourne Storm-based players.
Yeah.
So Melbourne Storm, if you're on the fence, who do you go for? Billy Slater's playing for him. Cameron Smith's playing for him. Cooper Cronk's playing for him. Greg Inglis. They're all there. So that's all I can say. But all I can say is we don't care, you Melbourneians, because we're coming after yous.
I don't know that Verlandy's always is smoking Melbourne, whether it's AFL or Melbourne Racing.
Yeah, true.
He's always into them too, so it's enough to turn.
Yeah, actually, that's a
any
good point.
Melbourne people against us. But it's cool to go to Melbourne. It's one of those. Yeah, there is a lot of Queensland, but there's still a sense of neutrality. How do you say it? Neutrality?
Neutral ground.
Neutrality about neutrality?
Oh,
neutrality?
I don't know, something like that. It's a neutral ground, but there's a sense of, it's Origin, but there's a bigger sense of occasion. We normally stay at the Pullman, MCG's across the road.
Mad.
You know the history in that state. you get down there, you're away from your family for a lot of the week. I don't know how long they'll spend up here until they go down to Melbourne. But when you get down there, you're sort of in that little bunker. It's just you and the team. And I think that's what we need it. We need it for New South Wales. We need to bunker down. We need to come out there and produce a performance, because if we don't, the series is gone.
Yeah, but see, I feel like you two, I don't get me wrong, I love you both, but you two are typical of the problem in this state around state of origin. And you two are former origin players. Like, you've sat here for more than a half an hour, and all you've talked about is New South Wales and how New South Wales are going to win and why New South Wales are going to win. I mean, Queensland have got such a great side. Obviously, just the spine alone. Obviously, Reece Walsh, Ben Hunt, Harry Grant off the bench, blokes like Paddy Carrigan. I mean, you blokes and the rest of the state of New South Wales, particularly you two blokes, because you're doing a podcast, you should have more respect.
What
I
we
mean,
d- mate, what
I
are you
will
talking
tip.
about?
I will tip Queensland to win this game, because I think, as a rugby league supporter, they are a better side.
Well, Queensland are definitely the favourites. After game one, their experience, we
Right,
just
yeah,
spoke about the
yeah.
luxury of having Gagai as 18th man. Like, that's the luxury they have. They've dropped Cobbo, who is their best player, or one of their best players in a master stroke. Like, we're talking about how we would like New South Wales to play to give them a chance to win, because we want to see New South Wales win, because we're from New South Wales. And I don't care if they run out Cam Smith, Billy Slater, JT, and GI again. I'll still be back in New South Wales, mate.
Yeah.
All right,
They'll still beat them.
You
I
never
just
be, you never be from New South Wales and tip Queensland, mate.
That's
From
him.
that,
That's him, bro.
I'm not
That's
talking
him,
to you
Wado.
until Thursday.
No, because
Okay.
that's the thing right
Well-
now. Like, he's oh, this is what he says. I'm a big South man. I'm a member. We've marched.
I never
Mate,
said that.
You
I never
you've
said
never
that.
said
You
we've
said that.
marched the
You said
streets.
that.
I have
You-
said that in the past. I didn't say
but,
that today.
But
Yeah.
now
Yes.
they're sort of, they haven't been great this year. Oh, Latrell this, Latrell that, South. Now they've won a couple of
No,
games.
hey,
You had your little South
You
beanie on the other
mate,
day.
You are off your trolley. Speaking of which, just to close off, you know that I spent a lot of my time up there on the GC, up there on the Glitter Strip. And I know that
No, I
you were
didn't.
up
I
there. Yeah, well, I do. But I go more Broady, Main Beach, up that end. But it has got back to me that you were well behaved at Mickey Fanning's golf day. And have I got this? No, I'm not a golfer, so just tell me if I've got this right. Did you give some youngster your golf bag that you won?
I did, Maroon. We came. So there was two courses. There's the River course and the West.
Mm.
And then there's two competitions, and our group actually came second on the West course. So we won a tailor-made golf bag from Mick Fanning and the sponsors who donated the prizes. And listen, I've already got a golf bag. It was let's not make it out I was just all a generous.
But it was a pretty good thing to do, old mate. I'm telling you. Yeah.
But it would have caused me a little logistical issue to get a whole golf bag
Yeah,
home with
yeah.
my other golf bag, and it was nice. But there was a couple of young kids around the room, and I'm fortunate enough that I got enough golf gear. As you know,
Yeah.
it's my second life at the moment, so I just decided to give it to a young kid out there.
Yeah.
It's nice
Well,
to
mate,
know.
that's beautiful, because that would have really made his day. And I don't play golf, but I'm sure those things aren't cheap.
That's very
Well,
good.
thank you. For
It's
that,
typical
Maroon.
Wado, isn't it?
It is.
Great
It's typical
man.
way to. And now, with respect, you could take a leaf out of his hat, but
Very true.
you know
Very
that's.
true.
I don't want to get stuck all day with you again. Let's leave it
Yeah.
there.
By the way, I'd love an invite next year.
Next
mate, in the
year,
team.
let me
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
to my
Well, speak to
let me
speak
talk
to
to
your
my people.
sources.
Let me talk to my people.
Your sources.
And I will be taking the bag home.
If he has to rent a car. Yeah. All right, boys, that's it. Thanks for joining us on Footy Talk.